Hello and welcome back to the studio. Unfortunately, I will have to start this video with some bad news. By the way, make sure that you first watch the previous video before you watch this one, because yesterday, which is in the previous video, I made some things and today I'm going to finish them. So make sure you watch that before you watch this, otherwise you have no idea what I'm talking about. But yeah, I have some bad news. The oval plate that I thought I saved was not saved. I'll show you, let's go. So I walked into the studio today and then I saw this. It cracked. It cracked really bad. Maybe I should have put it under some plastic so that it would have dried a little bit slower. But as you can see, it got two cracks right at the parts where it already started cracking while I was pressing it into an oval shape. I honestly expected this line to crack. This line wasn't as visible yesterday as it is now, so maybe it will crack later on. So yeah, that is unfortunate, but that's just the pottery process. You win some and you lose some, and yeah, we've definitely lost this one. I did come up with a new design, a new idea on how to make this plate. I was laying in bed yesterday evening, was like, how am I going to do this in a way that it doesn't crack? I still haven't really found a way or thought of a way to make it oval, but I'm now going to try to make a circular plate and then just cut out the middle part. And then I'm going to just attach both sides onto each other. I will finish the other one and see if I can clean up those lines on the inside a little bit more, and also clean up the bottom, just round it a little bit more, and just make it look a little bit nicer so that we still have this one. And otherwise I may use this for soap or something, I'm not sure yet. And for this video I thought it would also be fun to kind of incorporate a Q&A within the video. So I'm going to try that out, just answer a few questions here and there. There's already one question from someone that was very fast. The question is, how clean does it look like after a throwing session? Good question. Because sometimes it can get a little bit messy, but in my case I always am able to keep my studio quite clean and also keep my wheel quite clean. I also never really get clay on my clothes, sometimes like a little drop or something. But furthermore, I and my studio often just stays clean. My splash pan around my wheel is quite high, so when I'm throwing and it splashes, the splash pan just catches all of it, so there's not really any water or slip on the floor, and I just have to clean my splash pan every now and then, which I should probably do more often. And yeah, when I am trimming, which I will show you in a bit because I'm about to trim, my studio is covered in clay, but it's like little pieces of clay that are like leather hard, so I can easily just gather them, put them in my reclaim bucket. And that's because I place my give and grip on top of my wheel, and because the give and grip is quite thick and quite high, it kind of comes above my splash pan. So when I'm trimming, little pieces of clay just fly everywhere and just end up on the floor. And then yeah, I just gather them and put them in my reclaim bucket. You know what does exist to prevent those trimmings from flying everywhere is like a higher rim that you can kind of place inside of your splash pan, and that's like higher, and then it's like a little wall around your give and grip so that it catches all of the pieces. I never really want to invest in that because I didn't really think it would be necessary. I did once make it myself out of a cardboard box, so I just made a cardboard box round and I cut it in a way that it would be a nice shape within my splash pan. It worked and it catched all of the trimmings, so it's possible. But in that case, you kind of lean over the cardboard or over the rim that you have. You can also make it out of plastic. And I'm not really a big fan of that because I just want to be able to, you know, reach my work easily and not have something in the way, if that makes sense. So yeah, long story short, while throwing, it actually stays very clean, apart from of course the inside of my splash pan, but that's why it's a splash pan. And when trimming, it just flies everywhere, but it's very easy to clean because the pieces are dry. So now let's continue trimming and I'll get back to you when I have more questions. On these spatula holders I always get some fingerprints here on the rim from pressing it down. You can easily get rid of that by going over it with a wet sponge. I prefer to just do this when it's leather hard, because then it's just easier to do. You don't mess up the shape and you also don't make any new fingerprints because the clay is harder. So just wipe over it like this and then it's already nice and smooth. And then this piece is finished. Let's take a look at this little oval plate and see what we can do about it and if we can make it look any better. First thing I'm going to do is get rid of some excess clay here at the rim, because here it's quite thick and I want this to be a little bit more round. So I'm actually going to use this shredder from Mud Tools to just cut away some clay. Works really easy, just go over the clay like this. And you can just cut away some clay and round it a little bit. And you can just cut away as much clay as you like when you're doing this. I like to make it quite round. And there's often a lot of excess clay here, so you can do that if you like. And as you can see, it's still a little bit bumpy and not really smooth. But we will later on do some more smoothing with the sponge. Now I think that the shape looks a lot better already, and it's also a bit lighter, so I also really like that. Now I'm first going to take a look at the inside, because you still kind of see the two lines where I cut it and attached onto each other. Yeah, it depends on the light whether you see it or not, but it's there and I don't really like that. So I think I'm just going to cut away a little bit more clay, and for that I'm going to use a trimming tool that I also use to trim on the wheel. And I'm cutting away a bit of clay here on the sides because it's a little bit higher there. And if I lower that as low as the line that's a little bit lower, then I don't think you would really see that anymore. And then I just go over the inside with a sponge to just smooth it out, and then I hope it will look a whole lot better than it just did. Yeah, I think that looks quite good. Now let's take a look at the bottom, because we're not finished here yet. I'm actually going to add a foot ring to this bottom by just cutting some clay from the middle. I'm not going to cut too much, otherwise it will cut through the entire piece and we don't want that. So as you can see, there's also still some air in between it, so it's good that I'm doing this. I always like to start off with the shape of the foot and then just get rid of all of the clay in between it. And after cutting out some clay here, I'm also going to smooth it out with the sponge, and I'm also smoothing out the sides that I cut with the shredder. And then this piece is finished, and I am going to keep it. I first thought about throwing it away, but now that I've done all of this, I think it looks a lot better and I'm actually quite happy with the shape of it. I will also still try the other idea that I had, and then I'll just see which one I will be using for our toothbrushes. And now this piece is finished, and I'm just going to let it dry upside down, because otherwise it will get scratches here at the bottom because it's still very wet and very fragile. Hello! I got a question about underglazes, that's why I'm here with my underglazes. And the question is, after using underglazes, do you put normal clear glaze when firing at a higher temperature? Yes, I do. Okay, so with underglazes you can either apply them on greenware or on biscuit fire pieces. Greenware is before biscuit fire and biscuit fire is after the first fire. So you can basically put underglaze anywhere within the process, before the glaze fire, of course. So you can either apply it before the biscuit fire, then biscuit fire it with the underglaze on top of it, and then after it's been fired, apply a clear glaze, glaze fire it at a higher temperature. I fire at 1220 degrees Celsius, so that's a stoneware temperature, and for that I also use a stoneware clear glaze. And what you can also do is first just biscuit fire your piece, then decorate it with underglazes, let the underglaze dry, and then immediately afterwards apply a clear glaze. Both ways work just fine, whatever you prefer. Which clay piece do you have the most fun with during the making process? I love that question, thank you very much. If people ask me what's your favorite thing to make, I always say mugs, because I really like to experiment with different shapes and I like to make handles and make the handle look good with the shape of the mug. But you actually asked me what I have the most fun with. And I actually think that I have the most fun when trying to make something that I've never made before. I really like to variate in between things that I make, and I like to come up with a new design. And then if I've come up with an idea in my head and I'm able to make it and it successfully comes out of the kiln, I think that makes me the happiest within ceramics and within a certain piece. So there's not one piece that I like to make often. I mean, I like mugs, but I think I have the most fun when just trying something completely new. So if I come up with a new bird feeder design, I'm really excited to make it and see how I can make it, because often I first have an idea on how I want it to look, but not really an idea on how to make it. And then just the process of finding out how I can make it and how I can make it work. How do I make sure it doesn't fall apart while drying? How do I glaze it afterwards? I just really like the process of making something new that I've never made before. It's not really one thing that makes me the happiest to make. I think it's the variation of things that makes me the happiest. So yeah, I hope that makes sense. This is my favorite song at the moment. It varies every day, but today this is my favorite song. How do you recycle clay in your studio? I don't have a pugmill. Do you have suggestions? Okay, so actually all of the clay that I've been working with in this video and the previous video is recycled clay. So yeah, I do recycle my clay, and I also do not have a pugmill, so it's just a lot of wedging. I unfortunately don't really have any other suggestions. Yeah, a pugmill would be great, but it's expensive and it takes up a lot of space. And yeah, that's why I just do everything by hand. I personally prefer to just reclaim smaller amounts of clay. So I just reclaim like 6 kilograms of clay in one go or something, and not really much more. That will probably also depend on how much you make. My production is actually very low. Sometimes people think that I make a whole lot of ceramics because you always see me making ceramics, but actually I just don't make that much. Often I'm working on one project for a video an entire day, and then also a lot of time goes into recording, placing the lights and camera and everything of that. But because of that, I don't actually make that many pieces, and because of that I also don't have that much clay that I recycle. But I don't have really any other suggestions than just, yeah, wedge your clay very well, and yeah, that's it. One thing that I would say about recycled clay is that I personally prefer to keep it a little bit softer than the clay that I buy. The clay that I buy when it's new, it's quite hard, and I mean it works fine, no problems at all, but I've recently been throwing bigger pieces on the wheel, and I've experienced that it's easier to throw bigger pieces when the clay is a little bit softer. So now I actually prefer to use recycled clay and leave that a little bit softer. Don't dry it out too long, and for me it's often dry enough after one night of drying. So in the afternoon I always put it on top of a plaster bed so that it can soak up the water. And then the next day I can just take it off, wedge it, and it's ready to be thrown with. Or hand build or slab build, or just make anything with it. Time to continue working again after I drink my tea, but it's still too hot. I never really can handle tea that's very hot. When everyone has finished their tea, I'm always still waiting for it to cool down just a little bit more. I made another plate and I'm going to reshape it a little bit, but this time I'm taking a different approach. I'm going to cut out the middle, and for that I will have to make sure that I cut the same amount on both sides, otherwise both sides are not going to fit onto each other. I am going to use a ruler to make a straight cut. I'm going to place it right here. I'm going to grab my little knife. I'm using this little knife from Seam Tools, works great. Let's see. Okay. That went quite well, I would say. As you can see, I made the plate quite thick. Normally I would make it thinner, but because I have to attach both sides onto each other, I didn't want to make it too thin. And I already trimmed it because, yeah, it's only possible on the wheel to trim a circular piece. That's why I think this is going to be cool. Okay, now I'm just going to place this on top of here, upside down. I think that would be the handiest. Now what I'm going to do is just make a little line here so that I know where to cut. I am going to turn this around because I feel like that's the easiest since I'm right-handed. And now I'm going to cut it right here. Let's see how this goes. I hope it goes as smooth as with the previous one. This is quite cool. I don't really know what I would be able to do with this, but this middle part also looks quite cool. But we don't need that because now I'm going to attach both of these pieces onto each other if it fits, and I think it fits quite good. So to do so, I grab one side and then I scratch it. You can make the scratches quite deep. And then I grab my vinegar and I put some vinegar on here. Then I scratch it again so that the clay kind of becomes slip, and this will make it even stronger. And now I'm going to press both sides onto each other. Put some pressure on one side, put some pressure on the other side. I'm a big fan of this one, I think. Still have to do a bit of cleaning up, but I'm just going to keep pressing it onto each other and just let the vinegar in between dry a little bit. First thing that I do to smooth it out is go over it with my finger. That already does a lot, as you can see. You can also use the brush here on the sides if you like. I will also grab my sponge in a second. I mean, it's not oval, but I really like the shape and it will perfectly fit to brush on top of it. Now let's carefully, without bending it or anything, turn it around. Take a look at the bottom. Also just start off by smoothing it out with my finger. Now it looks pretty clean, I think. You still see the line a little bit here, but yeah, I also don't really mind. Now let's take a look at the other side again. I'll also go over this with the sponge, but this is already quite flat. On the other side it was a little bit higher. It actually went quite well. You do see a line here and here, but that's actually just because it is a corner, so I also don't really mind that looking like a corner. But I think this looks lovely. Just for the comparison, here is the other one that did survive. Both look quite cute actually, but this one would be my favorite because it's just a little bit cleaner. Also because I trimmed the bottom. Yeah, the bottom also just looks a little bit more finished. And that was it for today. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. I really enjoyed this day and I hope you did too. It's already getting dark out and I'm honestly, not gonna lie, very tired from this day, but I had a lot of fun, learned how to make a new shape with a circular thrown piece, and I think that's really cool. Love how the berry bowl turned out and also love how the big salad bowl turned out, and I can't wait to glaze these pieces. I will probably glaze these pieces in a video and also like kind of make it into a vlog like this. Before you go, there's one more thing that I would like to show you, and that's a big face that I just drew. I didn't record it for this vlog, but I recorded it for the video series that I'm doing on Instagram. But I do want to show you the face, so let me grab it. Look at it. It is really white, but I quite like that. It's very heavy. I'm going to put it down. But that's enough talking. Thank you very much for hanging out with me in the studio. As I said, I really appreciate it and I would love to see you in another video. So if you aren't subscribed yet, make sure to subscribe and also hit the bell notification to get a notification every time that I post. So I hope you have a nice day and I hope to see you next time. Bye bye!